The episode you're about to hear is authorised by me, Kate Hulett, at 106 High Street Mall, Fremantle. Yeah, I certainly agonised over it.
Yeah.
I mean, not to the point where it stopped me, because I think we've only got one chance at this, and, you know, in the next 3 years, the conditions are going to change for independents and minor parties. So it's in the best, you know, the greater good. We keep, all these arguments are coming to us about all sorts of things, and we have to step away and say the greater good is we have to make a change, and we have to do whatever we can. We've got to pull out all the stops.
Hello.
Bonus content.
Hi. Happy election day, everyone.
Oh my God, it's Saturday the 3rd of May.
Are you
It's election
Is this
day.
a musical episode?
Yes, I'm going to sing the whole way through.
This is a piece
gosh.
of Kate. Bonus episode. I'm Emma Pegram.
I'm Kate Hulett.
If you don't know that by now, it's
Welcome.
really a
If
failure
this is your
on our
first
part.
episode, oh boy. I feel like the series, we're at episode 26.
We are.
Episode 1 to 5 was probably quite ropey. Probably 6 to 15, quite good.
Okay.
16 to 20, strange. Like crying about trains,
Which
etc. Very
It's not
tired.
surprising given the stage of campaign with which those episodes are on.
Okay, for context, it's 6:44 p.m. Friday night. Election tomorrow. Polls open at
Election Eve.
Polls open at 8 a.m. to
Correct.
6 p.m.
You may be on your way there now.
We have how many booths across the electorate?
30, 35, 36 if you include one that's near the boundary.
And we've got 117,000 voters, of which about, I actually haven't checked today.
40,000 odd
Yeah.
have already voted. Yeah.
So most of the electorate hasn't yet voted, so they'll be distributed across those polling booths. It has been such a monumental effort, which I have mainly observed, thank God, of our volunteers, to create a pack of stuff to go to each one of those booths. Like a plastic tub full of paperwork and T-shirts and like loads of more signs and A-frames and flags. It's shortbread from my dad. Thank you, Dad. He came today to drop shortbread off, and I was short with him because...
Oh, I saw him. I had earphones in when he came.
You had earphones in. I said, Dad, I'm so busy, I can't talk to you. And he's like unpacking warm shortbread from his...
I mean, he's just so
He's kept
gorgeous.
everything going.
A
Just
huge
his-
shout out to
yeah.
Clive. Yeah.
Yep.
This campaign is sponsored by Clive's Shortbread.
Yep. And that shortbread has been a part of my life since I was born, really. So,
Are you
thanks,
going to
Dad.
cry?
No, I mean maybe. Yeah,
How are you feeling?
Oh, completely deranged. I know that no politician would ever come on the day of politician. I'm using the words punctuation and politician
Interchangeably.
interchangeably. Anything starting with a P that has a similar number of syllables is going in the same spot in my brain.
You were recording.
I am completely deranged, tired. This
So
morning
tired.
I felt like maybe I was just standing in the same spot in my house, like glitching, like I had turned a rope.
Oh, I know that feeling.
And I was supposed to meet someone to do some work, and I was like, I'd like got up at 7 and I was like, it's not 9:30. I don't know what's happened. I just didn't know, like I'd gone into some, and then I looked in the kitchen, all my rubbish was on the floor. But it wasn't, I mean, I had to message my partner and say,
I need you to come over
I need you
and
to
clean
come
up.
and take my bins out. I'll pay you.
Not
I'll
the
pay
first
you.
time you've done that.
No,
in
but
this
today
election
was
campaign.
more alarming because there was nothing else but like, it was just a cry for help. Deep.
I mean, shout out to
Hal.
your partner.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Thank
know
you,
if
Sam.
I'm allowed to name him. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Shout out to Sam.
beep.
Can I just say, there was a time, I don't know when, in this last 4 months, when we were saying, is it crazy to come on a podcast and like tell people how deranged you are? But then we were like, the thing is, I am certain that every single politician or candidate who is currently running an election campaign is this. They are this at home, like losing their mind, their hair's falling out, they've got no idea, the stuff's everywhere. But just no one's talking about it.
Of course, because you've got to look like...
I mean, that doesn't mean it's not crazy to talk about it. But
I'm in control. Everything's fine. I'm running the country. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what job I should be doing that would be the most productive or the most efficient or the most effective or the most necessary. And so, you know, when you're so busy, then you become incredibly inefficient. I mean, we're getting shit done. And so much happens through the day, as we've said 1,000 times. Often you look back and you're like, oh yeah, that happened today. That happened today.
But there was this moment in the office today where I was sat there doing something, like really wide into something to finish a piece of work. You know, someone was next to me, someone was across from me, people were coming in and out, people were, you know, everyone was in circulating, people's kids were here because they, you know, they're looking up, they've got their kids with them whilst they're coming and volunteering or working, and people coming in to collect their kits and their T-shirts and like, the place was just buzzing.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it was, and I just looked up and I was like, this is so beautiful.
For, to paint a picture, our office, like our desks are made with IKEA trestle legs and door as top doors are the tops. They're from a market stall that I used to set up. And then we have uncoated partition walls that a friend built for us. Thank you, Eli. Who also has to come and take them down next week, don't forget. If you're listening now, hello. And then there are just rain umbrellas, flags, like 70 of. Yeah. And it's just, personally, you walk through it for me and it's like a hall of hell mirror because it's just...
It is a hall of mirrors.
500 of my own face looking back at me.
It's brilliant.
And then children on their phones and different music's coming out and people playing videos of me going, hi, I'm Kate Hulett, and I want to punch myself.
And another favourite thing from today was, one of our amazing volunteers' kids were in the room. And they've been, I mean, they're like mainstays of the campaign. They're in the office, you know, heaps, and they're so gorgeous. And they've been flyering and like helping their mum do
at
everything.
night.
And they were sitting in the room, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know you guys were here. Hello, and I was chatting.
Because they're always sitting on the floor because there's no chairs. There's not enough chairs. Because we have like 15 chairs, and every single chair is different. Because they're all like off the side of the road chairs,
which we love. Anyway, I said to them, I think it'll be so cool when you guys can vote one day. You know, they're like, I actually don't know how old they are. Apologies to Beck. And I was like, it's a long time away, but it's really cool to think about that one day you'll be able to vote. Like, don't you think that's exciting? And they were like, yeah. And then one of them goes, but I don't know if Kate will still be an option then. And I was like, no, I don't think she will be.
Because she's dying. She's dead.
But you might have someone else great to vote for. And they go, yeah. And I go, or maybe you'll be a candidate. And he goes, yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't that so
Just pop that little seed in there. Do you know what? When I lived in England, when I was working with the underground, I was doing kind of stakeholder communication. So I was talking to like people whose houses were above the tunnels, and often because the tunnels were so old and the trains were so rattly, literally their walls would shake and like their pictures would fall off the walls and stuff. It sounds a bit bed knobs and broomsticks, doesn't it? Do you know what that is? That's a reference that you want to understand. Anyhow, shout out to the Gen Xers, the boomers. And so the stakeholders obviously range from the people whose houses were rattling to the Mayor of London, and so I would be kind of talking to them all, you know, for different reasons to advocate for whatever work we're doing. And I was walking with my boss, who was one of my most influential people in my life that I've ever, you know, on reflection, you look back to your 20s and you're like, wow, that man taught me so much. Like he raised my expectations of delivery to the point where, you know, we'd have 500,000 things printed and he'd go, I don't like the way that sentence, you know, that punctuation isn't quite right.
Oh, so he's who's responsible.
Yeah, and he'd go...
Thanks a lot.
And the printer would go, he'd go, you're printing overnight. Like, there was no... Everything is possible. And that's kind of... You know, when people say stuff to me like, that's pie in the sky stuff, that's just never going to happen. And I think, no, It can happen. And I said to you earlier, you know, someone was moaning about public transport or whatever, saying there's no way we could get light rail or we couldn't put homeless people in Bullsbrook. And I'm like, if we can put people on the moon, we can put homeless people in Bullsbrook. You know, like, I think we can figure it out. Anyhow, we were walking to City Hall in London and do you like this story?
I love it.
Yeah, we're going through the whole map book to get to the destination. And he said, I reckon you'll be mayor of London one day.
Aww.
And I was like in my early 20s. And I was like, what? And the point of this message is you can say things to young people and it's somewhere in their heads. And it's like that, you know, when you want mums and dads to say to their kids, you're very strong and brave, or, you know, like you could do anything you want and you can achieve it. You love that thing, you should pursue it because you could be really good at that. And what you said to the kid today, laying on our floor, probably sorting papers out for us, will mean something in 20 years and 30 years and 40 years, and that's really important.
Have you spoken to your old boss since you've been a candidate?
No, but I emailed him last year because I thought, I wonder if he's still alive, because I know he's retired. Do I talk about death too much? It feels like the word death. Now that you pointed it out, I'm like, at least every 15 minutes I say something about death.
It's fine.
Yeah, I emailed him just out of interest, and he lives in a village somewhere, and of course he's on the parish council or something like that.
Of course.
But it was nice. That was one of those moments, you know, when you think, I should reach out to that person, and then time goes and you go, oh, I meant to email, you know, and it's that moment was like, when you have those thoughts, you should just do it straight away and just say one line, whatever it is, don't worry, because I really tend to go, I'll write an email when I've got more time so I can fill it in and put more information in and send some photos, but actually you should just send the one line. You just send the one line and say, I was just thinking about you and whatever. I hope you're doing well. You should just do that, because what a difference that makes. I feel right on the edge of like I'm about to cry.
I sensed that. So hard cut, speaking of having a thought and sending it to people, did you
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, that was a really
No, it's perfect.
unsensitive way to bring it up.
If you think, how can we talk to the electorate and we can't knock on all those 70,000 doors? Not everyone's going to see the call flutes or is on social media or reads the newspaper. What if we send them a text message? And then you talk about it for so many hours, you will do it. No, we won't do it. It's foul. It's fine. Should we, shouldn't we? And then you look me in the eye, you look up and say, Kate, look me in the eye and tell me I can do this, and I'm doing this.
Yeah.
We spammed 50,000 people today.
I mean,
it was like
if you call it spam, people are going to think it's spam.
Worst butt dial moment.
You sent them a beautiful message from the heart.
From the harbour. Hello, sorry to interrupt. It's not Clive Palmer. I'm not that sort of politician. In fact, I'm not a politician at all. It's Kate Hulett, your independent for Fremantle. Like you, I'm so over the major parties. I know we deserve so much more and I'm going to fight for it. Vote 1, Kate Hulett, independent. Authorised by Kate Hulett, 106 High Street Mall, Fremantle.
Let's explain from the start.
Okay.
Because we didn't pursue this thing. It got offered to us as a donation. That we might be able to use a service to contact some people in the electorate. And
you make it sound so dry. Use a service.
Do you know how many times in this campaign you've told me that I make things sound dry and boring?
No, it's not. It's like,
as a professional writer, I feel deeply insulted.
It's like you take all my negative worry emotion out of it, but just like laying out the facts. And it's actually really reassuring. I need it. Because I'm like, oh my God, we're H Fong from the Trumpet of Patriots, and we're offering no immigrants, no thing, no punctuation, no clear sentences, no understanding of what the hell this message is. And then we were like, let's do that. That was effective. The whole country was talking about how awful that was. Let's do that. Let's do that, but in Fremantle, and put my face on it, and my first name and second name.
So you feel great about this choice then?
I feel like I want to fly to the moon and not come back.
Well, we can do that, you know.
Well, I'm
Or
just going to
alternatively,
call
you could go
Katy
full time.
Perry. Elon Musk. I mean, half our money is going to one of those guys that owns spaceships and, you know,
How?
ruining the world. Like
Sorry.
Meta, all those.
No, yeah, they're all the same one man.
They are, effectively. I mean, they are, aren't they?
So, okay.
Okay, you got to talk. 'cause
We
I'm
can have this
anxious.
opportunity to come up.
I'm either crying or anxious, like vomit.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting to the listener that we both feel a lot of anxiety at this moment. And, you know, it's a really weird...
I mean, I just got to...
No, don't share that.
Okay.
Um,
I just
Yeah.
got a death threat, no, I didn't.
we're laughing about it a lot, and it makes it sound like we're being flippant, but we're
I
not.
also
Like, we
laugh about
actually...
death a lot, so it's like, it's
we
not
actually,
a good guide.
we really agonised over the decision of whether or not to take up the offer. And we put it to our, you know, everyone who's involved with the campaign, we sort of put it to a vote. And
Not everyone, if you've, like, not hundreds of people.
no,
But
okay,
the key,
sure, yeah.
No, just because people are like, I didn't get asked.
Okay, we put it to the main actors in the campaign.
The main players who have been kind of working with us since December.
Yeah, and many of
January.
whom have been working on it, you know, for longer than that as well.
Oh, yeah,
And we were expecting like a kind of robust conversation about whether or not we should do it. We were expecting that people would have really mixed feelings about it.
Ethically and from a...
Even just practically, you know, like,
all of the functions of
But the response was actually like unanimously, we should do it,
do it.
which gave us confidence. And I suppose,
Just,
you know, I don't know. It's some
I mean,
kind of
I was
litmus
looking for
test.
any way out. So it didn't give me confidence.
So to everyone in that group, if one of you had just put a
Yeah.
thumbs down, you know, you might have got Kate off the hook. But here we are.
But if you look at it as door, like I find door knocking very invasive as well. Even though across the board people say that is the most effective way, and you do. I mean, you have the most brilliant conversations, and you absolutely. You might have 6 great conversations because it's such a slow process. It's so effective at obviously hearing what people have to say, and you know, conversing with them about what you're there for and why you're there and so on. I guess interestingly with door knocking, most of the major parties are going to tell them their achievements, you know, like knock, knock, knock. Did you know we've da-da-da, did you know? Or they're trying to rag on the other party. Whereas we're just going saying, what do you care about? Or do you feel fed up with the major parties? Because did you know there's another option? So it's a bit of a different approach. And you know, with all the households in Fremantle, there was no way we could knock on every single door. And it did feel like if we got the tone right, it was just a little like...
Friendly message.
Ooh, hello. Delete me if you like, and it's just the same. It's like you can not answer the door, or you can say I'm not interested. And...
Yeah.
But I certainly agonised over it.
Yeah.
I mean, not to the point where it stopped me, because I think we've only got one chance at this, and you know, in the next 3 years, the conditions are going to change for independents and minor parties. So it's in the best, you know, the greater good. We keep all these arguments are coming to us about all sorts of things, and we have to step away and say the greater good is. We have to make a change, and we have to do whatever we can. We've got to pull out all the stops. It's the day before the election, and it's like, this thing's been offered to us. A number of people will find it really awful and off-putting, but a number of people will say, I didn't even know we had an independent. So
Yeah.
she looks like a fairly normal person.
I want to read, this was one take from within the group, who is kind of at the coalface because this is the person who is responsible for a lot of replying on Facebook and Instagram and other platforms. So maybe receiving, you know,
Yeah, she
responses to
gets
the
a
text.
barrage on one channel for
And
sure.
I said we're feeling, a lot of anxiety about the fact that we just sent out this message. And she said, honestly, I would reassure yourself and Kate that anyone whose vote you've captured will love it. Anyone who was never going to vote for Kate will hate it. And anyone in the middle, maybe it's the one interaction beyond seeing a corflute that they have and spurs some curiosity or influence. It can only be a good thing. I think you guys are fucking legends for doing it.
That's very nice.
I mean, not everyone's going to feel that way.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. And we sure as heck know that. Like, instantly, there were messages coming back.
Yeah.
But I don't know what, if we didn't do it and we miss out by 400 votes or 200 votes, like the state election, and we think, God, you've got to try. I mean, I hate spending money on, vehicles like the West Australian, advertising in the West Australian. I hate that. I hate putting money into digital advertising because I know where that's going ultimately.
Yeah.
I hate paying for printed corflutes that have to go across the electorate and all the paperwork, all the flyers, all the time people have spent of their precious weekends leafleting on our behalves. I find that really difficult to reconcile with, all of that attention and effort that's put in for these 2 months. I want it to be the opposite. I want all the effort and attention to be for 3 years. And then I want the election to be on the basis of you've done a really good job, you get elected again, or you have not delivered, we want someone new, give us some new options, and then people are presented that way. But I just think, gosh, what a enormous, hideous waste of money. It's not a waste because we have to change things, but that's the conundrum, right? Where we are absolutely desperate to change the system of these parties that are like absolutely desperate to hold on and not change anything. So we have to try every mechanism we can to break that. And then we can break it further, and go, all right, no more spam text messages. That's banned. No more how to vote deals and preference deals. That's banned. No more signs across the electorate. That's banned. But you have to get in there to change it. Otherwise, it just kind of grows and grows and solidifies. And then, a number of people from parties have said to us, you can't get rid of how to vote and preferences, because how are people going to know how to vote, and how are people going to know what you're about if you don't show them? And I just think that is such a deranged thought process, and we must empower people to make their decisions. We must. Yeah,
it's a huge change that has to occur because, if we're relying on spam text messages and how to vote cards to get people to make informed decisions at the booth, it's not a good situation. We need so much more foundational civic understanding in this country to be able to build,
But don't you think it's been, particularly this election, all those kind of mechanisms like build a ballot and many punters politics, many influences and mechanisms have really popped up to talk about civics and preferential voting, and if you can spend 10 minutes before you go to a restaurant to look at the menu, you can spend 10 minutes looking at your candidates for your area. And imagine then what happens in another 3 years. It's the education which people have taken upon themselves to say, this is so important, we have to talk about it, is doing the job of the major parties. And that's what I think we spoke about that with Fatima, Fatima Payman, that it's really in the interests of the major parties for us to be completely illiterate in all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because then we go, well, I guess Labor are the better of the two, or, I hate them, but I hate them even more. So that's how we vote. But it's that way we've voted for many years is to the detriment of our country and the outcomes that we get.
And I think it would be great to get to a place where we're not relying on influencers to do civic education. I think, it would be great if we taught that in school or, through literally any other channel. But
brilliant.
That's where we are. And we're going to
people are so desperate. They're like, I am an influencer of like whatever, clothes or makeup or something, but I'm so desperate. We are so desperate to make a change that we will start our own mechanism to educate people. I mean, that's back to the
it says a lot
strategic.
about where we are.
I mean, it's also brilliant, and it's really reflective of the community independence, where people have said, let's take this into our own hands, because the powers that be will not do it for us. And it's kind of, in a way, pretty nice reflection, but we could all be doing way better things with our time than teaching the population about preferential voting.
Yeah.
But someone's going to have to bloody do it.
The other thing I think to note about this specific scenario where we've texted half the electorate is...
Stop reminding me.
I know, every time I say it, I feel guilty.
My hands are like, just like, it's like rain out of my hands. They're sweaty. If you could
I'm
see...
so sweaty. I know, it's hideous.
But have you been swimming? No, I'm just like... my body's like
50,000
the sweat
people.
of the anger of the...
Yeah. But what I was going to say is, there's like, we talked about this, God, I can't remember when, on another episode when we were talking about disengaged voters and, the fact that so many of us are that voter because of the state of politics and the state of our media. And they're really hard people to reach. Like, it's not easy. And, someone even said to me, maybe a week ago, someone was like, how are you talking to people who don't have social media and don't have this and don't have that and don't do that? Because I met someone the other day who'd never heard of you and la la la, and like they were almost kind of. It was very like I felt like I was being interrogated, and I was like, I mean, I can only do so much. I don't know. I don't know how else to reach them. Insert,
when I've
insert text messages. Yeah,
I've got one idea.
But I think the people who will, I don't know, it's hard to say who are going to be the people who have the biggest problem with this strategy.
Oh, I've got a list. They've just messaged me.
But I do think that in some cases, the people who are maybe the most upset about this kind of communication are the last person you're trying to reach with it, and they don't like it because it's, I don't know, because of what it looks like and how it feels. And to me, like, I totally understand that, but I still think it's important to reach the person who's disengaged and bring them along.
It's vital.
On the journey.
I mean, literally, it's the majority, and if you're not talking to the majority, you're not going to get anywhere. So what's the point? When I have helped run things, like the Fremantle Biennale, and we would go, we've got TV ads, we've gone through the council, we've gone in the papers, we've got digital, we've done competitions with blah, 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 blah. And then people would go, God, I haven't heard about this. How, and I always say to them, how do you get your information? Are you online? No, not really, no. Do you read the papers? Oh, never. Do you look at your post? And often people are, I guess I don't really... I guess it's like word of mouth, or something like that, and then you're relying on secondhand information, and so it is hard. And it's interesting to consider, listener, you, us, how do you most often receive information? We spoke to a group of girls the other night who were, I reckon, between 17 and 19, and I said to them, how do you get your information? How do you get your news? What do you read? And they all said TikTok. That was how they got their news. Their news. So
I mean, this is off topic, but there's some statistic about how TikTok's overtaken Google or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
or
like
the
search.
The search
they're going to TikTok to search
the search
what's
function
wrong with my
is
toes
so
or whatever.
superior, and
It's wild to me.
The way it works is more sophisticated than Google. So people go on and go minestrone
that's a side
recipe.
Save that for another episode.
But it's pretty interesting, because that generationally that changes everything. Because then if the top end are looking at the West Australian and the bottom are on TikTok, it's difficult to get to them all and get a message that slaps on TikTok and doesn't offend people in the West Australian. I mean, we deliberately tried to offend people in the Western Australian in a way.
Well, not the readers, only the
last
owners
campaign.
of the newspaper.
We put that behind us. Yeah, exactly. We were targeting
Jokes.
Stokes.
That's all in, all
Stokes.
fair.
It was jokes for Stokes,
Yes.
So how are you feeling?
Well, I feel really excited about tomorrow.
Okay.
I feel like...
Also, it's 7:13 now and we have not talked about what we're doing tomorrow. Where we're
can
going.
I just wrap up with one thought?
We're not wrapping. I've got more to talk about.
No, but just on this part of it. Because
Okay.
I think the last 2 days for me has just clarified so much the kind of importance of what this campaign is doing. And I say this campaign because it's a lot of people and it's the only way to refer to it. Because I just think things are going to have to look so different. Like the way that we go about things, the way we communicate, the way that we try to build relationships just have to change so much. And now I'm getting emotional. But but it's clarified that for me a lot. The amount of kind of, people coming out of the woodwork to kind of criticise different things or, the attack ad and all the rest of it.
Three major parties.
Yeah. And I
nice
just
top,
think...
by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, reclaiming the colour. And I just... Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. I've lost my train of thought with all these interruptions.
We're going to hold hands.
Yeah, it's just clarified for me the purpose. Which is a really nice way to feel going into tomorrow.
We came into this project going, all right, how do you win an election? How do you fix things? And we've done what we could in the state, and then we took it on and kept going towards federal. And what's been really clear is the state of play is most of the problem, and everyone coming into this game needs to look at it incredibly differently and be very clear about who's playing and how they're playing and why they're playing and what their objectives are and what the greater good is, and keep your eye on the greater good and work towards that, even though people are punching from all directions and trying to just cut you down for whatever reason. And for different motivations.
Yeah. And it's going to be the case that forever everyone's going to try and do this in a different way. And that's fine. This is just one way of doing it, and I feel quite good about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess how I'm feeling. So tomorrow, let's talk about it. What is the plan? I mean, we haven't... When you say we haven't talked about it, you don't mean we haven't talked about it for the podcast. No. You mean we actually haven't talked about it.
Because in the state campaign we had...
8 booths.
8 booths.
Yeah,
so we could go to each booth, we could drive to each and spend time at each. We could get back to some for a second visit. We could meet journalists at different spots along the way, and it was a huge day and quite overwhelming, emotional and busy and difficult in what's the best thing to be doing and where should we be spending more time and so on, and how do we help the voters who are being turned away, and I don't quite know what, But this time it's a different ball game entirely, because we are unable to go to all of the booths.
We've got to pick and choose.
Physically...
It feels... I actually don't like it. I don't like picking and choosing. It feels like playing favourites. But we physically can't.
And also when you go there, it's kind of... My instinct is to talk to the volunteers, because that's what I'm like. But actually then you like, oh my God, do I talk to the people in the queue? And,
the answer is yes.
They're only going to say,
in the queue.
You're the one that sent me the text message yesterday. Get it out of my face.
We need a T-shirt for you tomorrow that says, I'm so sorry. Just that.
It's normally the first things that come out of my mouth when I meet someone anyway.
I know, so I've witnessed that.
It's fine. Yeah, I mean, we'll go and do that after this, but I keep kind of the flashes of the party afterwards. After the election last
year.
We went back to my house to, I don't know, drop off
something.
And I just laid on the couch in kind of a catatonic state. And then you were like, we've got to go. And I was like, oh. Like a kind of...
I'm sorry.
bedraggled.
I'm so sorry.
Bedraggled dog that you dragged me down the road. But we got to the venue and it was just
electric. Yeah. My favourite memory from the state campaign is the night before election day.
Just thinking that. Don't.
When we were leaving the office for like the last time before.
After we'd had pizza?
After we'd left the office at 2 a.m. every day.
But we'd left the office, we went and got dinner and had pizza.
That's right.
And then we went back to the office.
And we were saying goodbye to each other and we had this, probably the most amazing hug of my life, I think. And we both cried. And it was
the first time we both cried.
It was the first time we both cried, which might sound like duh to a lot of people, but it's a pretty emotional thing actually, being exhausted and running a campaign for your life. And
because it was like, this is the end.
Yeah.
This is what we've been losing our minds over for 2 months.
And I mean, for me, it was just like this embrace of gratitude and respect.
Same.
Anyway.
So
we'll have another one of those later tonight.
We
won't do it on screen.
Okay, so
this is it.
We'll get up in the morning. We'll bang about the electorate. Probably eastern, southern.
We'll see you. We'll see you out there.
Then we'll go and I mean, your view is, unless it's like a landslide victory for someone,
or a dramatic loss.
Yeah.
For us, which it might be.
Or anyone. I mean, that's the opposite of a landslide victory, isn't it?
Yeah.
The dramatic loss.
Indeed. Yes. So my view is that unless it's dramatic in some sense, we will potentially not have an answer tomorrow night. Yeah.
It feels, I haven't even, like, that bit of it.
I haven't even thought about it.
No, but it kind of is, it's almost irrelevant to the entire campaign for me. You know, but I know it is the ultimate goal. But because so many people's minds and brains and hopes and dreams have been shifted and like transformed in a way that isn't going back, it's like, that's fine, that's it. We've like made the change. We've like steered the ship and we're heading in a different direction. Speaking of ships, today we were in the port and I was waving at a pilot ship that was driving past. Sailing, but they're not sail. Anyway, whatever. They're on the water.
Boating, shipping past.
So I'm waving at them. They get off, climb up the ladder. I thought they'd gone under a tunnel, but then they just appeared. Anyway, that was another cool thing I thought.
That is cute.
Imagine like a tunnel under the jetty. Anyway, so then I was like, that's so cool. They're so cool. Just getting around in their helmets. And then they just walked over to them. And then I kind of interviewed them. I was like, can you tell me about gauge roads? Can you tell me, where do you get on the boat? And then you drive in, and then what? And they were like, sometimes the boats are like a metre from the bottom of the thingy,
the floor,
the thingy, that's descriptive. And it was really cool. And then they were like, send us a message, we'll get you out on the
You're like, don't worry, I'm about to send 50,000 of them.
I was like, I might text you later. Hello.
All right, so look, I hope everyone takes this as a...
This is bonus.
Yeah.
So sometimes bonuses aren't the kind of bonuses you want.
I would love everyone
like a wage
to listen to this
bonus.
episode and hear our, perspective on it all, but they may not. But that's okay. It exists for posterity, nonetheless.
I thought it could be called Trumpet of KATE-RIOTS. This episode.
Wow.
Definitely.
H.
For people
Authorised
listening, the
by-
producers really liked that suggestion.
Is there anything else we were going to talk about?
No, I reckon we just say thank you for listening for the last few weeks.
Oh, but thank you, but don't tune out. But right? We're not stopping.
Absolutely don't tune out.
I've got plenty of stuff to talk about.
I mean, who knows? Yeah.
After the election is when the dirt happens.
Well, here's a good one. We did get a message. Well, was it a message? No. One of our volunteers today said to me. One of our volunteers said to me today, I was speaking to my friend who's babysitting my kids on election day for me, and she voted for you at the state election, but her husband didn't. He refused to even speak about the campaign, or, maybe she didn't say it in such harsh terms because they might be listening. So she was very kind and she loves you. She said,
Sounds like
she voted for you, but he
stories.
didn't. And anyway, and she said, but he's been listening to the podcast and now he is voting for you. And And
I'm
he said,
surprised.
it's so great. And we've had this from a lot of people. Like, it's obviously in its infancy as a podcast. But people are saying, it's great. It's just what we need.
People from the booths today got a message saying, also, people love the pod. Met a whole family that listen and talk about it together.
It's cool.
Pretty nice. I mean, it's nonsensical, obviously. And
well, we didn't know how it would be
borderline
received.
Watching someone have a mental breakdown in real life, in real time. But that's good. Got to talk about these things honestly and openly,
Well, we kind of got to talk about everything, and that was the whole premise, and that's what we've tried to do, and that was our promise.
Emma, where are we sitting?
Oh, we're sitting on couches in a house in South Fremantle. Is this South Fremantle? Yeah.
Okay. Sounds cagey to me, but shifty. We're at our producers.
Yeah, true. We didn't tell people where we are. We usually tell them.
Well, we were going to do a little crossover episode. We might do that next week or whenever.
Okay. Like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Thank you. Have a great day. Enjoy your time at the polls. Get a democracy sausage.
If you see me, hug me.
Indeed. Love you.
Love you.
Love the listener.
Yeah, thank you for journeying on this magical mystery trail with us.
We'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye.